Hello, welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, the strategies, and the insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today, I'm very lucky to be joined by Charles Rodriguez of Big Boy Media Group. How's it going, Charles?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good. Another day in paradise. Charles, I would love to start this off by learning a little bit more about you and your background and a little bit more about your agency.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. I think I stumbled upon agency ownership. I was in sales and marketing leadership at a national organization, and we were having a really hard time finding an agency that didn't suck.
Mhm.
I was new to hiring agencies, and we tried some of the big guys in fitness. This is going back almost 8, 9 years ago. And
Mhm.
we'd hire some of the big guys in fitness, and then we weren't big enough for them, so like the relationship wasn't great. Then we'd hire some of what I call like agency bros, just like some kid that obviously just bought a course and we'll fill your gym with X amount of members per month. As always, they drop ball about 2 months in every single time without fail. I decided that I had a great opportunity internally to create an agency to service our company, and that's what I did. We started out in fitness. We still do some boutique fitness stuff, but mainly we moved into mid-market B2B brands, a
Mhm.
little bit of e-commerce, that kind of stuff. So it's been a really fun process to experience the growth and watch the team just have like win after win and the success. It's something I'm really proud of, and I'm really proud of all the people here in this office that make it happen.
Awesome. And so your services range from full service production to video distribution across various platforms, right? How do you tailor your strategies to ensure your each video reaches and resonates with its intended audience?
We've got a really robust onboarding process when we have new clients or new campaigns or existing clients who want to start offering a different service to a different audience. We do a ton of audience research. We've spent tens of millions of dollars in spend over the last 8 years. So we've got really good internal data. And then we also, I'm, I've never been a fan of telling people to focus on one niche. I think it's a really bad idea to put all your eggs in one basket, especially when you own an agency. However, once you find a point where you understand five, six, seven unique verticals, I
Mhm.
think it's really good to be able to leverage that data to make good recommendations to clients. I think that the reason they hire agencies is because we're supposed to be the experts at helping them build an audience, develop ICPs. But it's great sometimes clients already have that information. As with anything in marketing, I believe that everything is driven by creative first and foremost. And then you win at campaigns by delivering that creative to the right audience that's actually going to buy the product or service.
Yeah. No, that's super interesting. And I think it's really cool that you guys, I feel like a lot of agencies don't do that, where they like are really gathering internal data to make sure that it helps the next client and the next client. And where did that come from for you? Was it just, I have all this data from these clients, let's put it to good use? Or was it like, did it come from back when you were looking for an agency and you just had just bad experiences?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. It was really annoying when I'd hire a new agency and they would say to me, "Who's your customer?" And it being in the industry in fitness specifically, at that point, I said, "Well, we all have the same customer,
Yeah.
right? We're boutique fitness. We're all catering to 8 to 45-year-old women.
Yeah.
It's what we're all doing. That's the
Mhm.
audience. And then determining how to target the individuals within that audience that can actually afford a high-end boutique fitness membership. Do everything from, you understand how it works, interest-based
Yeah.
targeting, all that stuff. And so I think there was some frustration for sure in how bad of an experience I had with agencies. But
Mhm.
as I tell our clients all the time, first and foremost, I'm a business guy before I'm a marketer, before I'm a sales guy, right? We have great marketing staff here. Our CMO, he's extremely talented and skilled in a really diverse array of verticals. He's managed millions and millions in ad spend in all these different industries, and he has these really fantastic insights. And our sales team is really good. Robert Totten, he's our head of sales, and he's just has this really dialed in sales process. I feel like I'm in this really good position as the CEO where I can sit back and develop relationships with clients and focus on the high level of everything. And when I was able to sit back and do that, I realized we're not in the business of selling a widget or making videos. We're in the business of driving revenue, and we're also in the business of data management.
Yeah.
I think that's important for marketing agencies to look at and say, we have all of these data points,
Hmm.
right, that can be leveraged to make sure the campaigns in the future win.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's so much power in that. And I think that's one of the reasons if you are a mid-sized brand, small to mid-sized brand, even a large brand, sometimes you should use outside agencies because they know what works. They have all this data from other companies like them, and so there's inherent value in that. Assuming that, like you, agencies are like holding on to that data and putting it to good use.
Yeah, I agree entirely. One of our clients is a very good friend of mine, Mark, and he reached out about us doing social media management for his brand. And I just told him, I said, we don't do it, man. We're not good at it. I'm not passionate about it. I don't
Yeah.
care about social media. And honestly, I'm too old.
Yeah.
I have more gray in my beard than black now. So I'm just too old to run a social media management department. And so I told him, I said, you need to get an agency to handle that portion of your marketing. And I think you brought up a really fantastic point. It's everybody wants this like totally one-stop solution,
Mm,
but there for mid-market companies, it's really rare that they would even be able to afford an agency that can really effectively do all of it and do all of it exceptionally. Everyone can do everything okay, but
yeah.
I'm a really firm believer in staying in our lane. We refer out to social, we refer out to app development, that stuff. I'm not going to try and do all that stuff in-house. We focus on programmatic advertising, creative rather, search engine optimization, web development, that kind of stuff, right? Search marketing, etc. I feel like if you try and step outside of your lane, you get greedy, I think that's where a lot of guys fail.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I think that was the big craze for agencies a few years ago in terms of we want to be, because clients are asking for one-stop shops, we're going to be that one-stop shop. And then it turned into this like jack of all trades situation. And I don't think that it's like the client's request has changed and that they still want the one-stop shop. But I think agencies have wisened up, hopefully a lot of them have, in that yeah, you can use other agencies. You can do what you do really well. And like you're saying, refer out to other agencies who do really well with what they do. You know what I mean? Orange 142 is really good at media buying, and that's what we do. And then we refer out for a lot of the other stuff, or we go in on RFPs for a lot of the other things. That request or the need for clients that hasn't changed, but I think the way that agencies are delivering has changed. And I think that there's a lot of power in that. And that's the way it should be. Do what you do really well and stay in your lane.
Yeah, you had this, I'm trying to think of how to say it in PC manner. You had this really massive boom of extraordinarily shitty agent. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this one, but extraordinarily shitty agencies that are actually just some dude in his mom's basement with a couple of foreign outsourced labor. And the worst part is that dude has never done marketing in his life. He's
Yeah,
never been in a leadership position in business. He's never done marketing. He doesn't know anything about marketing. He bought a Go High level subscription and some course, and now he's a marketer.
right.
And it's one of the main reasons we got out of servicing small businesses
Mm,
is because they just get just battered by these dudes with the
yeah,
cold emailing and the crazy offers. I feel like $100 million offers is the single worst thing that's happened to the marketing industry ever.
yeah.
Our offer is we're going to do a good job, and
Uh-huh.
that's it. That's our
Right.
offer. So, anyways, it's I think that's you can't be some 23-year-old kid in your mom's house saying that you're an agency and you offer all of these services. And I think that's the expectation has been screwed
Yeah.
up there a little bit by the some of the small businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. I know with the birth of a guarantee, like a very hard to do guarantee, I think came a lot of hurt for clients and a lot of bridge burning. But for you guys have amazing client testimonials that highlight successful collaborations with diverse industries, anywhere from real estate to healthcare. And I'm curious, how does your team adapt to the unique needs of different sectors to produce effective content?
That's a really great question. Not as efficiently as I would like, but they do it really well. It's creative's a weird place to live in because it's very subjective in many ways, right? And so there's a lot of trial and error. We've had a lot of reshoots in the last 8 years where our team, and it still happens, our team will go shoot and they'll come back and our creative director or myself or whoever will look at it and go, that sucks. Let's redo this. It didn't come out the way we wanted. But the reality is that when you break it down, no matter the industry, when you break down creative, if you have a
Mhm.
brand that's trying to capture market share, you just identify what their weak point is, right? Do they have a lack of social proof in the market? Do they have a lack of brand awareness in the market? Have they
Right.
not built brand equity through community involvement, however large that community may be? And so it's the fundamentals, no matter what you're advertising with creative, remain pretty similar across industries.
Yeah.
And you just have stylistic changes and messaging changes. But as I said, I think we have, for an agency of our size, our creative department is disproportionately large
Mm.
and they're very talented and those guys work their ass off. I think
Yeah.
that's the way that they do it effectively.
Yeah, and you can see how that work comes across. And like I said, those testimonials, even just your website, it seems like you guys have a great team behind you. And not only that, you guys have generated over $250 million in revenue for clients. And with that being said, what key factors contribute to achieving like such impressive results? And how do you guys measure success for your clients?
The biggest KPI that we track for clients, and this is true across literally all industries, is revenue growth.
Hmm.
That's what pretty much everybody wants to see. On
Yeah.
occasion, you'll run a campaign that's not revenue focused, right? That's strictly just, hey, let's look and see how we can increase our presence in a market. But at the end of the day, you still track revenue growth, right?
Yeah.
We don't have time on a podcast like this in this format to talk about how we track all this stuff. And I imagine anybody watching this would understand that concept. But I think that the main thing that we do other than tracking revenue growth and having that collaborative relationship with our clients is excellent communication, but also just being creative driven. I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of agencies miss the boat. And I'm not too concerned with things with anything above creative in terms of priority,
Mm.
right? And I
Hmm.
think that's a big differentiator is most agencies don't have the capability to produce that kind of creative in-house. They either have to go to a production company, which a lot of clients don't have the budget to deal with the production company and the agency markup and all that stuff. So having it all in-house is lead for us.
Yeah, for sure. You've mentioned at the beginning of this that you fell into the agency world by accident. How, just out of curiosity, how has your vision evolved since its inception in 2018?
A lot. We're a completely different company. We're separating our two main offerings into two different brands because it's too much under one roof to
Mm,
keep it all under one company. Your video production side, we have an entire side that services agencies and direct to client productions that have nothing to do with distribution or marketing. And then
mhm,
of course we have a full service agency. We're separating those out. The company is way larger than I ever intended on it becoming in terms of staffing, our offices, everything. So we started out doing lead generation for gyms. As everyone knows, a space that's dominated by single person agencies and AI and all that stuff. And it's not creative driven. Gyms don't have the budget for the creative unless they're a larger chain. So we don't mess around there anymore. So yeah, it's crazy. I didn't expect it to get this big. And every time I talk to my partner, well, we're just going to keep going,
right.
which is candidly speaking, it's weird. But
Yeah.
you're driving the ship, but at a point, it's like if you ever seen the movie Interstellar.
I just watched it actually this weekend for its 10-year anniversary. So funny you bring that up. Yes.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just went. I've seen it. It's my favorite movie. I've seen it a million
Same.
times. Just saw it twice in IMAX this weekend.
Nice.
It's like that wormhole scene, right? And then
Mm,
like Cooper has no control over the stick, and he's just like along for the ride.
yeah. Yeah.
I think you get to a certain point in business where your team is working so well that it's sometimes I don't really even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it's but it's a good feeling. It's alleviates a lot of that stress.
Well, most people go into business wanting to build something huge. You know what I mean? Most people want to go build the next Facebook or the next Amazon or something like that. Or at the very least, just have this like huge company. And it's really interesting hearing your perspective because that was never your intention. It's just something that was the byproduct of doing really good work for your clients. And then just talking to you for 15 minutes here, I can see that you process the world in a unique way. And so I think there was like a combination and all that happens. That's really cool to hear the other side of it and get away from the typical entrepreneur story where somebody wants to hit a home run on their very first try, but you just like fell into something and then it just grew.
Yeah, it's you say most people start out like that, and I think that's why most people fail.
Yeah.
Everybody has this statistic, right, from the Small Business Administration. I think it's like 50% of businesses fail within however many years.
Yeah.
But then you go to startups and it skews way higher. And then I don't think there's data on agencies, but if there were, I bet it'd be like 98%. And I think that there's a lack of humility in the world. You
Yeah.
know, it's everybody wants to grow this juggernaut for their own ego. I just want to retire at 45,
Yeah.
feed my birds and hang out with my wife and whatever. I don't have some delusions of grandeur where I'm going to change the world with a marketing agency.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not my game. I just That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I love your perspective, Charles. This has been awesome and refreshing. Where can people learn more about you? Where can people learn more about your agency?
I'm a pretty private dude, but I post on LinkedIn sometimes. Just search Charles Rodriguez or Big Boy Media Group. Our website's bigboymediagroup.com. Bigboyagency.com will be our new agency site. That'll be live in probably 6 to 8 weeks, which I guess is irrelevant on a podcast because somebody could be viewing this in 8 weeks.
Yeah, no
So
worries.
it may be live. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it may
That's for
be.
all
Yeah.
the big folks. So yeah, that's where you can find me. My
Nice.
things.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, Charles. This was great.
For sure. Likewise. Thank you.